right, we will go ahead and get started just because I want to make sure we have enough time at the end for discussion. Um, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Kara Cox and I am the Kansas RTAP Director. Uh, Today's webinar is going to focus on the new digital accessibility requirements. And our goal here is going to be to help transit agencies across Kansas understand what these requirements are, why they matter, and what steps we can take to prepare for compliance. So, just taking a quick look here at our agenda, we'll take a look at what those requirements are and how they apply to your agency and what tools we have to get you started. I have set aside quite a bit of time at the end of this presentation for you to share your questions and concerns so that we better understand what assistance you need and how we can help. I know this is probably new for a lot of us, and we're kind of learning it together. So we want to be able to share those feelings and what roadblocks we might be facing. So let's jump in here and see why does digital accessibility matter? Um, Obviously, transit agencies provide an essential service for the public, and more often than not, now those services are advertised and information is shared on online websites or through mobile apps. So we have to make sure that our websites and apps, any trip planning tools that we have, service alerts are accessible, because when these tools are not, riders with disabilities may unintentionally be excluded from accessing transit services, and that's absolutely not what we want. So that's why we have this new WCAG 2.1 level AA. And it is an internationally recognized standard that explains how to make digital content usable by people with disabilities. Excuse me. So the Department of Justice has selected this as the standard because it is widely used, it's well tested, and it provides clear and measurable requirements. So there are several guidelines online. They can be overwhelming whenever you're reading them as a whole text as to what all this entails. So just breaking it down into simple terms, these items have to be accessible. So this includes your agency's website, any mobile apps that you use, online schedules and maps, PDFs, videos, and forms. So pretty much if the public uses it to get transit information or services, it must be accessible. I want to take a second here to mention that this includes any materials that are produced by a third party. So maybe you have a third party that runs your website, your mobile app, creates forms for you, etc. And I want to just mention that it is the agency's responsibility to hold these third parties accountable for making sure that the materials they're producing are in compliance. So most third parties, if they're reputable, should be aware of these new laws, but it is our job as an agency to make sure that they are following those compliance guidelines. So we do have some updates on compliance deadlines. So agencies serving 50,000 or more residents must be in compliance by April 24th of this year. And then there is some flexibility with smaller agencies. So those serving less than 50,000, there is some wiggle room to be in compliance by April 26th of 2027. However, we are encouraging everybody to shoot for that April 2026 deadline, just so that we're kind of all on the same page and shooting for the same goal. Um, and we are here to help you reach that goal as quickly as possible. So let's take a look at some of the key accessibility requirements. So some of the most common accessibility requirements include keyboard navigation for users who can't use a mouse, compatibility with screen readers, sufficient color contrast, and accessible forms. These are the most common areas where accessibility issues are most often, or where they most often occur on websites and apps. So these are going to be the key focuses when it comes to falling into compliance. So how do we check these things? We can use a manual check, and that's going to be our most thorough and essential check. There are some automated tools that can help get us started, and those are great, and I'm going to mention those here in just a second. But ultimately, the manual checks are what's going to ensure that we are actually in compliance fully. So whenever we're doing manual checks, as an agency, we want to make sure that we can test that our website is keyboard only, navigation friendly. We can use a screen reader to review content. We want to zoom our text to 200% just to make sure that pages don't become distorted once we zoom in, and that we're checking forms and documents to make sure that they are usable and accessible. So whenever we're doing these manual checks, it can just help identify some of the major barriers that might be taking place on your website or your mobile app. And usually these are pretty easy to fix. Not always, but most of the time, anything that we can detect visually or manually is somewhat easy to fix on the back end. We did provide more guidance on manual checks in the 2026 winter edition of the RTAP newsletter, and that can be found on our website at www.ksrtap.org under publications. So we have a full article that goes into more depth on everything we're talking about today. And then we also have a checklist for your agency to kind of utilize and help you go through the process of becoming in compliance. So let's jump ahead to looking at mobile app accessibility. So mobile app accessibility is going to require more of those manual checks. So the most common text-to-speech apps are VoiceOver on iOS devices and TalkBack on Android devices. So if you have the ability in your office or people in the office with those devices, it's good to download those apps to make sure that they're compatible with your app and that they are functioning as they should. We also want to make sure that text resizing on the mobile app doesn't break any of the layouts. It's something that's really common in mobile apps. It's just the nature of the delicacy of the app, but it can be fixed. And then we want to confirm that our touch targets in the app are large enough. So I don't know if you've ever been on a specific app on your phone and you're like tap, tap, tapping, and it's just not going where it needs to go. And it's because that touch target is just too small. So we want to double check that everything is easily clickable throughout the app. I'll take a second here to reiterate that if you have a third-party company that is running your app, they have to be held accountable for making sure that you are in compliance. So hold them to that. All right, so let's take a look at some tools and resources. There, like I said, there are several guides out there that can assist. There are tools kind of everywhere to help get you started, but these are going to be the most important guides to help you understand what exactly you need to do. So the Department of Justice provides guidance. The Small Entity Compliance Guide is particularly helpful. And then the WCAG 2.1 guidelines explains the technical standards that are expected when meeting these compliance rules. And then the state of Kansas actually has some accessibility resources. We have those also listed in that newsletter article that was published a couple weeks ago. And then Kansas RTAP is here to help you get connected to whatever training or support that you need to be successful. I also have listed here an automated testing tool. So I touched on that just a second ago. And these automated testing tools, there are several out there, but not all of them are free and not all of them are super user friendly. But these tools allow you to plug in your website. The automated tools scan your website for any compliance issues and then produce some kind of report for you. So we have found that the Wave website here at this web address is super helpful. It is free. As soon as you open the web page, there's a text box for you to put your web address in. You click go, and within a matter of seconds, it has your website pulled up, and it has several indicators of where you may not be in compliance. So that's a great starting point, in my opinion, which leads me into how we get started with this whole process of making sure that we are in compliance and how do we get into compliance. So I know it can seem very overwhelming because it's a lot to undertake, but it doesn't have to be. So first things first, we want to start by auditing our existing digital assets. So taking a look at our website, taking a look at our mobile apps, just to see kind of where we're at in compliance, what issues might need to be addressed. And I think this is where those automated testing tools really come in handy, just as a starting point. So just so you kind of get into the mind frame of this is what we're looking for compliance, run your website through one of those automated testing tools, see what the report comes back with. And that just kind of helps you tune in to those details that might need to be adjusted. So once you have that kind of taken care of, unfortunately, the mobile app still has to be a manual check, more than likely. But once you have those initial checks done, it can be helpful to go in, and whether it's yourself who's making those changes or staff in your company or your agency, or talking with your third-party contractor, to just have some training tools in your back pocket to refer back to. So we have some training information listed in that article in the newsletter, and National RTAP has some great resources on their website for some of those more fundamental compliance changes that will have to take place, like color contrast and things like that. So those are great places to get started. And then once you kind of feel like you are comfortable, you kind of have a grasp of what you're looking for, then you can go in and start making those updates on the back end of your website to be in compliance. So taking what you have, the report that you've gotten from the automated testing tool, taking what you've learned from different training avenues and putting it together to start making those corrections on the back end of the website or the mobile app. And then as you go, you want to make sure that you're documenting your progress and the fixes that you are making. So in the off chance that you are audited someday on your website, you can have documented proof that these are the steps that you've taken to be in compliance. And these are the issues that you've tackled. And maybe there's some bigger issues that are taking longer to tackle. And you can document the steps that you have taken to fix that issue. So anything to show that you are making a full-hearted effort to be in compliance is good. So um, and then once you've kind of gone through and you've utilized the automated testing tools, maybe you've run your website through the testing tool again after you've made corrections. You keep doing that until maybe you come back with hardly any corrections. Then you can go through and do your manual check just to make sure that everything is functioning as it should. So that's just a little overview of how to get started and the process, or what the process can look like. Like I said, we have a checklist on the newsletter that came out a couple of weeks ago that can help guide you through the whole process. So I know that was a lot of information, and some of it might have been just a recap of the newsletter if you've already read that article. But largely today, I wanted to focus on how you're feeling about everything, see what your agency is doing to prepare, what challenges you're facing, and where you need support, because that's what we're here for. We want to know how we can best support you with all of these changes, making these updates. So I will open it up for discussion at this point. Anybody would like to get things started?
Kara, this is Jennifer Wolf. I know you said there was also the list on the RTAP site, and I'm on the RTAP site. I'm looking under the downloads. Do you know where that's at?
Oh, sorry. It is in the winter 2026 newsletter.
It's actually in the newsletter. Okay.
Yes. We can pull that out and have that as just a printable version, because that would probably be helpful.
So what is the deadline? I'm just totally lost right now.
Yes. So for those larger agencies who serve populations of 50,000 and more, that's going to be due by April 26th of this year. And for smaller agencies serving under 50,000, that's going to be April of 2027. But our goal is to shoot for the deadline this year in 2026. And that applies to everybody. There's just a little bit of flexibility with those smaller agencies.
So this is Lona, Harvey County. If our updated website utilizes a third party to make sure that we have our accessibility factors, we just need to verify with them for these specific things for transportation. There's really, for the general accessibility, it doesn't seem like there's anything extra. Our transportation program doesn't use any mobile apps. So do we have something there that I need to look out for?
So no mobile app. That just makes things easier. You will want to make sure that your website is in compliance. So using that third party, I would suggest using one of those automated tools just to run your website through, just to see what pops up, and then maybe share that report with your third party just to address those issues. And depending on the third party, they might have guidance that they can provide on why certain things are. but they should ultimately be responsible for making sure that you're in compliance.
Well, and for clarification, this is not just for transportation. This is for any city, county, state website, correct? So if our umbrella is under our county or our city website, that whole thing needs to be in compliance.
If the city and county, they should have been done a while ago. So this is recently for extending to agencies that receive federal and state funding, which is why you guys now need to be in compliance of it. I did want to point out, just for clarification, even if you don't have a specific app, if your website can be pulled up on a phone, make sure mobile wise it is also a compliance. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I'm not sure
Okay.
who ran. Oh, Michelle, you ran my thing, which I'll have to take that and share it. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
And
just
then
this is
Lana,
Renee
sorry,
Art.
go.
Just to clarify, this upcoming deadline of 2026 and 2027, it is for cities, counties, and the state government. And because you are subrecipients, you're wrapped in with the state. But the guidance did come out a while back for cities and counties, so they may already be working on it and be in compliance.
Can you repeat that?
So this DOG requirement, it came out quite a while ago. I think in 2024 is when it first came out, and now the compliance date is 2026 for those over 50,000 and 2027 for those 50,000 and under, and it's for local cities, counties, and state government. And because of the role that public transit plays, it is part of the accessibility, and as subrecipients under the state, you have to be in compliance, even though many of you are not cities or counties. Does that make
So you're
sense?
saying our date is that 26 date.
2026, if you are in a service area that is under 50,000, I mean, 2026 is 50,000 and above, under 50,000 is 2027.
Okay, regardless that we're a subrecipient from the state funds.
Correct.
Okay.
It's based on your service area.
Kara, can I ask the PDF that you're preparing for the newsletter checklist? Is that going to go back out to the newsletter recipients, or are you going to send it to the people on this call? I wasn't sure.
I can do just a wide email to all our RTAP audience.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So I had trouble getting on in the beginning, so I may have missed some things. Where is where can I access the tools that I can run my website through to see what deficiencies it might have?
Yes, let me pop back here a couple of slides. Oop. So this website here at the bottom, the this Wave website, we have found to be the most user-friendly of the automated testing tools, and it's free. So and these resources are also listed in the newsletter article that was published a couple weeks ago.
Kara, I just put that link in the chat so people can click on that and find it to the PDF.
Oh, thank you so much. All right.
So I got a question. This is just, with Northeast Kansas Area Agency on Aging, and I am actually trying to fix our website myself. And I have come across using the Wave and stuff where it tells me, like even at the beginning, it states like the English, the HTML code is not correct. So I corrected it and it still pulls it up stating that it's not correct. That is something I have caught with the Wave, is that even though you fix it, it's still stating it's not fixed.
Um,
Did you republish your website?
Yes. And I've done a hard reset, refresh.
okay. Um, we can take a look at maybe seeing if there's some resources to help with the HTML coding and see like if there's just some kind of discrepancy between what's on the website and what's populating through Wave.
Yeah.
Because without getting into it, I'm not sure exactly what that issue might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation also. So I've been doing 3 steps. So the website accessibility checker, Chrome extension that I posted in the chat, I do that first and that gives you that overall grade. And then I use the Wave extension and it tells you exactly what you need to fix. And then run both of those again after you make some of the changes to see if you're making progress. But without looking at your website specifically, it's hard to know like what changes you need to make.
Yeah.
And then I also made the recommendation to add the accessibility statement to your website also. That just says that that you're working on it and you're making things accessible. And so you may have to work with a website person to see what the issues are. And I think it also depends on like if you're using WordPress, I don't know what you guys use for your website too, but there may be some things that you'll have to look at in there also.
Yeah. And I've actually added plugins to help also. So, I mean, I've done a lot of, doing it for the last, since Monday. Monday and yesterday I hit it hard trying to do. I have fixed several things. It's just there's certain things that I have fixed and it still says that it's not correct. And I've actually coded it. I know with the English thing, I tried 3 different codes and it's still not working. So that's the reason I'm just like, is there somewhere else that I can find, codes that possibly could work? Because I use GitHub. I have actually used Chat GPT. I've used, different codes, and I've actually used Google Developer to help also. Because I asked it questions.
Well,
I didn't know if anybody else had any places that I could look.
I mean, you're doing everything I would have done. So I'm sorry, I don't know what else to tell you, but I feel like also documenting what you've done.
Yeah.
And adding that accessibility statement.
Yeah.
Could help you.
That's one thing I have not done is doing this changes. I should have documented things and I would, yeah. Is there a program that you guys use for the documentation? Or is it just, you just pull up a word and just enter what you're doing and then, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, just a Word document is fine.
Yeah. That's what I would recommend. Also, just document like the general things that you've done.
Okay.
So document like the general changes that you made and then some of the research that you did.
Okay.
Just like kind of an overview of that.
Okay. Alrighty.
Have you made other changes to the back end of the website already, Christina, or have you kind of just been focusing on that specific HTML element?
No, I've actually changed some of the codes in the background, and they've actually worked. So I just don't get why the thing with the English, and I did it for, I wish I would have documented so I could show you the 3 codes that I used, and it's still not working. So, because
Okay.
if one code didn't work, then I would remove it and then try a different code. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was kind of wondering if there was another issue that was conflicting with the code and that's why it was throwing it off on Wave. But if you've gone through and made other adjustments, I don't think that would be it.
Well, and like the other part of this is like, yes, perfection is nice, but it doesn't have to be 100%. Like you need it to be in that appropriate range. And so that's why if you run your page through that website accessibility checker and get the grade, like as long as you're in a decent grade level, and then you can just kind of keep working on things as you go.
Okay.
So
So
that would
here's
be
the
the other
question.
thing.
Yeah, here's my question then. What grade are you supposed to be at though?
I've been happy with B, like
Okay.
an 80, 85 and up as a
Yeah.
B.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good goal to shoot for.
Okay.
And without knowing exactly what the error is showing with the English HTML, you could potentially run your website through like with a screen reader. And
Mhm.
if it's reading through clearly, document that with the issue. Just be like, the screen readers are accepting it, like it's reading through like it's supposed to.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you.
But if an agency was going to be like testing if you've got it at a decent amount, what will they be using? Will they be using this wave or will they be using screen reader or what will they be using?
Give me like if you were to ever be audited by the
Yeah.
high powers.
Yeah, yeah, whoever those people are.
Yes. They definitely have their own tools. I cannot say for certain if they're using Wave or anything like that. They do a lot of the manual checking um, themselves just because it is the most accurate. Um, but
Okay.
I can't say for certain what all of their methods are. I can try to find that out.
When I was looking at the Wave AIM score, it says that a score of 5 indicates that the page's score is roughly average compared to web pages generally. Because it has a score of 1 through 10, is what I'm seeing.
Yes, I think it will give some kind of average in comparison to other websites out there. Um, I don't, I'm trying to remember based off of some of the websites that I tested um, specifically. I think I would focus more on the issues that Wave is populating um, and tackle those to the best of your ability rather than focusing on like how you compare to other websites. Um, just in my opinion.
I would agree with that. I don't really look at the Wave for the grading. I use the website accessibility checker extension. And that, so that's what I ran Lana's website through. And then I just ran East Topeka seniors, and you got an 83, but you're at a 72 for WCAG.
What does that mean?
Well, so that means that you have things on your website that you need to address.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I have your website pulled up, then I would use the WAVE evaluation tool, and it shows you exactly on your website which things need to be fixed.
Okay.
And I did that for you, and most of yours are contrast errors. So you have low contrast between your text and the background. And those things are pretty easy to fix. You just need to change the color of your text.
Oh, cool.
And that would fix a lot of what your issues are.
And Deborah, I just sent you an email with your wave score and a link to it, so we can connect about it later.
Thank you so much.
I just added a link in the chat that has a section on conformance for the accessibility guidelines that kind of talks about what is required, what conformance means at different levels.
Michelle, real quick, you said you were using the accessibility checker extension.
Yes.
Right? Okay. We had attempted to use the accessibilitychecker.org and we ran into like needing to pay.
Purchase, yeah. That's why I found this. It's just a Chrome extension. So
Okay.
you have to use Chrome in order to use it, but I have that and the Wave extension both on my Chrome. And so that's kind of what I've been working off of.
Awesome.
I have been also, I used Web Yes. Also, it gives you actually 10 credits to scan it. At each page, it's 2 credits, but you can run your scan at least to see what all of your issues are. It tells you what the issues are also. So I've been using the Wave and the Web Yes, and I just installed the Chrome.
Okay, cool.
And doing the Chrome, I am for ADA Title III, I pass. For WCAG 2.1 AA, I have 0%. I'm a fail. I have 191 total issues.
Okay, so that's what you need to look at.
Yeah. And then with my Web Yes, I'm 86%, it says. Which is crazy. So everything's going to be different.
Well, so you must have something going on then with your website. And the other thing is when you're doing these, make sure you're doing every page of your website.
Yes.
You'll need to fix issues on every single page.
Yes, I did find that out.
And that's why like Kara mentioned, those paid versions aren't super helpful because you do have to, it limits how many, but if you use the Chrome extensions, there's no charge and you can run it for every single page.
Yep. Yeah.
Hi, this is Kelly from Twin Rivers. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Hi.
I'm new to Twin Rivers, so I got a question. So we have a website, and then in our website, we have a tab that talks about our transportation. So our overall website, that's what needs to be in compliance, or just the transportation part of the website?
If it is part of the city or county website, the whole thing has to be in compliance.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, I always have.
Mm. Have someone in the chat asking for a demonstration. Are you asking for a demonstration of like Wave? Okay. Yeah, let me share my screen. Get this pulled up here. The page that there we go. Okay. So this is what the Wave web page landing web page looks like. I already have OCCK in here, so I'm just going to use that. So as soon as you type in the web page address and click go, it analyzes for a few seconds, and it actually pulls up the website and it pinpoints some areas that need attention. So some of these issues are just very like contrast colors, so it just needs to be higher contrast in those fonts. And the side panel over here just kind of breaks everything down for you. You can click for more information on each of these for reference. And then you would log into the backside of your website to cross-reference and making these changes. So without going into too much of a demonstration here, this is what it looks like.
And Kara, if I could jump real quickly,
Yeah.
everybody don't freak out about how many errors you have. I pulled up the East Topeka one, and they had 8 errors on just their heading. So if they just fixed the heading, 8 of their errors would go away immediately. So if yours is showing 40 or 60 or 100, don't freak out. It's totally manageable.
That's an excellent point, Mike. Yeah, this can be overwhelming, but sometimes fixing one thing takes out a good chunk. So
Now, this is for the whole website, or you said something earlier about going to each page.
So you do need to check each page. Let's see here. Right. Let's just go to one of the other pages on the website, and it also breaks down any items that need attention. So yeah, you can click through the website through the Wave web page and see everything. Any other questions about the Wave tool?
So when I ran the Waves tool on our main harveycounty.gov website, it came back with a 7.9 out of 10.
Okay, are you talking about this score over here, the AIM score?
Yes.
Okay. So I wouldn't focus too much on that score. I would focus more on the errors and the things that the webpage is called attention to. Um, I believe that that's that particular score.
So I have one error. I have 0 contrasting errors. I have 2 alerts. I have 1 feature, 1 structure, and 0 on the ARIA.
Okay. And is that clicking through the different pages of your website?
Nope, that's just the first one. It doesn't come up and put the website in the center. It says it's a non-script element. Now, with being a county government, I don't know. Of course, this is the actual public landing page, so so if I go back and I change the page and copy the page over, let's say for transportation specifically, there again, it comes back up with a 7.9 out of 10, 1 error, 2 alerts, 1 feature, 1 structure.
Okay. You said your website's through a county government?
Yes.
Okay. So do you make edits on the back end of the website, or is that somebody else?
We have a third party that does all of that.
Okay, so there's a good chance that they've already gone through and made several of the updates. Because it doesn't sound like there's a lot going on.
To do.
Exactly. So if you have any concerns as you're clicking through the website and something catches your attention, you might reach out to that third party to see if it's something that they're addressing or if it's something they can address. But I know Michelle mentioned using that, sorry.
The Google extension. I can't put the Google extension on my server. I would have to go through our IT to put on an additional extension because things are so locked down because we are a county government.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. It could be that you can ask your third-party provider, see if they have the extension or if they can provide some kind of overall
documentation or something.
Documentation or score of the website to see
Okay.
what they're working off of. That could be helpful. Just because more than likely they have already gone through and at least started making corrections to be in compliance.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions or concerns or things that we can provide to
have
help?
no say in how the website works and that. What is a passing score? What am I having to communicate to my website teams that I have to reach in order to be in compliance?
I think to begin with, like Michelle mentioned, shooting for like that 85%, that B range, is a pretty solid start. Anything above that is great. But I think bare minimum, we need to shoot for that 85.
Tara, I know you're recording this. Is this going to be sent out on a link somewhere so we can get to our CTD groups that couldn't come?
Yes, this will be on our YouTube channel.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. All right. Is there anything else that we can do to help assist you all? Aside from making all the corrections for you.
Yeah, do you mind doing that? That'd be great.
Right. If I could duplicate myself by 50, maybe. All right. Well, not hearing anything, we can go ahead and wrap it up today. Like I said, this webinar, which is recorded and it will be on our YouTube page. If you come across any issues or have any questions as you're getting into the process, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And we'll help you get the right resources that you need to the best of our ability. So.
Okay, and on the KDOT side, Sarah Stewart is going to be heading this initiative up, so feel free to reach out to her or Kara.
Yes. And I had somebody just drop in the chat the YouTube, they want the YouTube link, so let me grab that real quick. So we are housed under the University of Kansas Transportation Center, but we have a playlist designated to our tab webinars. So let me drop this here. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining in today. And if we can be of any help, please let us know. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.